Okay, my friends, here it is. The video that is going to explain to you everything you need to know in order to implement this very valuable tool of mulch. So I'm going to say some things about it, and then I'm going to take you outside into the garden and show you multiple different ways to mulch things. So there is no excuse that you're not implementing this in your garden this season. So, number one reason that we want to apply mulch is because that is how nature does it. When we look to nature, we can see that nature never likes bare soil, if the climate allows for it, not like a desert or something. But the forest, there's always a nice thick layer of mulch, and over the years it decomposes. Even the grasslands, there's a nice thick layer of mulch that decomposes over the years. The jungle, thick layer of mulch. And this is what nature loves because the plants mine the minerals, store them in the plant tissue, and then when they fall to the ground, it begins to decompose by the microorganisms, nourishing the life in the soil and providing minerals and nutrients to the plants. And so we must mimic nature in this way. So this summer, once again, it is blazing hot and bone dry, just like last year was, where we had 8 or 9 or 10 weeks straight without a single drop of rain, and it was a blazing high temperatures with no cloud cover. Well, this summer is already starting off even hotter than last summer, without any rain for 3 to 4 weeks already, which for Indiana, that is really uncommon historically. So I would say that we are in a bit of a drought. And we need to take measures to buffer our plants against this. So what are the benefits of mulch? Because this is what we're going to use to buffer. So the benefits of mulch are vast. And number one is that it is going to insulate our soil from the extremes. So one of the things that dries out soil is having it exposed because there is what is called capillary action. And think of a wick. Think of like a candle wick. How the candle wick draws up the fluid or the wax through the wick and then burns it up top. And that's what we could call capillary action. Now the soil has the same type of thing going on. So in the vast majority of the country, in the vast majority of countries, there is water in the ground. There is like what we call a water table. And the soil has the ability to draw water up from the water table. But what happens when we till the garden and then we just leave it exposed to the sun and to the wind and to the heat and all of these elements, it pulls the moisture out of the ground like this, okay? And that is why we must keep the soil covered, because when we keep it covered, that capillary action is not going to evaporate. So the wind isn't pulling the soil or the moisture out of the soil. The sun isn't baking down on the soil, pulling out more moisture. And I'll show you all of this here in a moment. So for these reasons, we want to put a nice 2 to 3 to 4 to 6 inch layer of mulch on top of the plants. And this is going to keep the root zone nice and cool. See, most plants can take hot temperatures, but they need a cool root zone. Virtually no plants want a baking hot root zone. And so this is one of the number one things I see when people show me their problems that they have in the garden is they have containers or they have raised beds or something that has no type of mulch or protection for the roots. So it's just baking hot root zone and the plants just don't like that at all. Okay, that's not good for them. And so for this reason, we want to use one of the various different techniques of mulching that you're going to see here in just a moment. All right. Another really beneficial reason, besides buffering from the extremes of the heat and retaining moisture and keeping the root zones cool, is that when you use good organic mulches, it nourishes the soil. So the favorite food of the earthworm is leaves, definitely, followed by like horse and cow manure, really good, grass clippings, all of these things you will see. Even cardboard, they love cardboard. So we are feeding the community of microorganisms that exists in the soil with the organic mulches, but also we're keeping everything moist. And so that allows all that activity to happen. When it's exposed to the air and to this heat and this drought, the microorganism activity is blasted by the ultraviolet radiation and by the wind and the drying effect. And so the microbes just kind of go dormant, okay? So for these reasons, we want to always, listen guys, we want to always put some type of buffer, some type of mulch, all right? Where you live in particular is gonna make it a little bit different. If you live in really hot, humid like Florida and stuff, it's going to be a little bit different than it would be up north. But for the most part, this is what you want to do. So let us get into it, and I will show you multiple different methods, and then we will come back and I'll tell you some of the specifics. Okay, so you can see here at the celery patch that we have a deep layer of leaves that we've had since the fall time. And now, even though it hasn't rained in several weeks, it's been blazing hot, still the soil underneath here is nice and cool and moist. And you can notice the microbial activity by the aggregates that have formed. Do you see how easy it is to break the soil apart after squeezing it into a handful? That is what you want. Now here we are at the onion patch, and I have removed the boards. If you watch my short about how I planted these with the boards, we removed that, and now we have placed about 2 to 3 inches of grass clippings. And I don't want to pull too much because onions have shallow roots, but yes, this soil is also nice and moist. It's been weeks without rain. So here we are at the garlic patch, and they love, do you see how thick this stalk of garlic is? The garlic really loves a nice heavy layer of mulch. So here we've used straw, and you can see when we take a little bit out from underneath that it is almost like compost. I mean, essentially it is compost. This is a wonderfully rich source of nutrients for the plants, keeps it cool, keeps it moist. And so here in the potato patch, we're going to use something similar, and that again is straw, except we just placed it here a couple of weeks ago. And you can see that when you reach up underneath that it's again nice and moist and black. But then, of course, the cat wants to roll all over everything and smash it. But all in all, I would recommend that you get a cat with the deep mulch system because moles and mice love to play under it. So this cat is a vicious killer. That is one of her redeeming qualities and something I love about her. So all in all, it's very beneficial, even though they destroy so many things. Yes, and so here we are with the collard greens, and you can see that they are thriving under some fabric mulch, just like these tomatoes are, even though it's been blazing hot and bone dry, and I haven't watered these at all. I really haven't watered the garden. And so now you can see here, tucked away in the corner is a new sweet potato patch. And so I just took some steel pipes and wrapped up this landscape in fabric, whatever you gotta do, because otherwise, if I didn't have this, the morning glories would totally take over this whole thing. So instead, I got the sweet potatoes. Now here I want to show you another method, and this is with the plastic. So plastic bags are also acting like a type of mulch. Plastic works as a great type of mulch to limit completely the water evaporation. Very conservative of water with the plastic. So over here in the pepper patch, you can see that I have applied a thick layer of leaves. However, I need to use the boards to keep them from blowing around at first until they settle in place. Then even in containers, you can utilize the mulch system. Now here I want to show you that I have used the cardboard because there was constraints on certain things. And so here for the zinnias and the marigold bed, the flowers up front, I put down a thick layer of cardboard. You can see the fungal mycelium already is starting to form, and everything is loving the mulch. The mint, and here is the fennel that is not even begin to finish growing. They get enormous. And then here is the marigolds. Everything is loving this thick layer of grass mulch, because otherwise it would all look like this, just bone dry and rock hard, and it is already starting to turn brown. And here is a patch that indicates what would happen if you just completely leave it exposed. There's no living root in the earth, and you can hear how hard this is. There's no mulch covering it, there's no living root, and when we take some of this soil, we can see that it is totally devoid of the activity that we want. It is like pulverized. When you crumble it, it turns into powder that will blow away in the wind, and this is not what we want. This is what all the soil around here is like right now, unless we keep it covered. So there you have it, my friends. Some of the specifics are, if you are doing it around trees, which trees and woody shrubs and perennial berries and all of those love mulch, use hardwood mulch for them. They love the fungal relationships that is formed with the hardwood mulch and the fungi in the ground. But do not put the mulch up on the trunk of the tree, or the blueberries or the raspberries or the perennial shrubs, whatever it is. You want to keep the actual mulch from being around the trunk of whatever it is, the tree, because that's not good for it. So there you go, my friends. If you feel like you gained something from the video, give it a thumbs up. Also, share the video with anyone that needs this knowledge. Share it to the Facebook groups or wherever it is. Also, check out the Garden Like a Viking Instagram account. Use the hashtag Garden Like a Viking if you want me to see what you're doing. Show me pictures of your garden, all that kind of stuff, okay? I'm into it. Leave a comment. Also, the simplest thing you can do to help the channel, leave a comment. Big shout out to everybody that has been using the link in the description to make a donation to the PayPal. I really appreciate it, and that is what helps keep these videos coming. And do not forget, every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern time, we have a live Q&A right here on this channel. I will see you there, my friends.